While many authors dream of getting their book published by a Big Five house, there is a huge publishing landscape outside of the Big Five, and any aspiring author should know about it. These publishers can open up more opportunities for you to get published and could offer a different type of experience for you as the author. So if you want to be traditionally published, it's really not Big Five or bust. There are so many other amazing publishers out there doing incredible work and who could offer your book a perfect home. So today I'm going to talk about two lesser known sides of the traditional publishing industry, mid-size publishers and indie presses, and discuss the pros and cons of going with one of these types of publishers over the Big Five. If you're anywhere along your publishing journey or interested in book publishing, I recommend subscribing to my channel. Every week, I either talk about the industry like today's video, or I give tactical writing advice that you can apply to your work in progress today. So if any of that interests you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Before we get into the tips, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps out my channel and takes you just about a second. Thank you so much. Let's start by talking about mid-size publishers. These are the publishers that fall just under the Big Five in terms of size. They are still traditional publishers, which means that you will not pay anything to get your book published, and you will have access to their entire editorial, sales, marketing, design teams. These publishers tend to have a smaller list of titles because they're not as large as a Big Five house, and they often focus on specific genres or niches. That said, they may still be big enough to have different imprints that specialize in different genres. Some examples of mid-sized publishers include Kensington, Chronicle, Sourcebooks, and Scholastic, as well as Amazon Publishing, not their self-publishing platform, but their traditional publishing branch. Something to know is that these publishing houses may not necessarily require you to have an agent to submit to them. Some do accept manuscript submissions directly from authors. As of filming this video, Kensington does offer unagented manuscripts. Chronicle does as well, but Scholastic, Sourcebooks, and Amazon Publishing do require agents. Now let's talk about indie presses. This is different from indie publishing, which tends to refer to self-publishing options. An indie press, also known as a small press, is essentially a very small traditional publisher. They are even smaller than the mid-sized publishers and tend to not have different imprints, but specialize in a very specific genre or niche. Many highly regarded indie presses specialize in literary fiction and are very well known in that arena. These publishers tend to publish only at max a few dozen titles per year. Some examples of indie presses are Grey Wolf, Europa Editions, Tin House, and Crooked Lane. Just like mid-sized publishers, they may or may not require an agent to submit your manuscript to them. As of filming this video, Grey Wolf, Europa Editions, and Tin House all require agents to submit to them, but Crooked Lane does accept unagented manuscripts. If you learned something new from this video, I promise you'll learn so much more on my newsletter website, chapter-break.com. By signing up, you will get more tips and insights delivered straight to your inbox every week. I'm doing exclusive interviews with literary agents and successfully published authors, and I'm doing deep dive content into specific editorial issues from my background as a developmental editor. By signing up to Chapter Break, you'll get my free story self-assessment worksheet, which is a fun quiz I designed to help you look at your manuscript from a new perspective and see how you could improve it and iterate on the next draft. The links to download your free story self-assessment and check out Chapter Break are in the description. Now let's talk about some pros of publishing outside of the Big Five with a mid-size or indie press. These publishers can still have robust distribution networks, and you can still become a best-selling author through them. These publishers may be open to taking on more experimental or unconventional works that present more of a risk for Big Five houses that are focused on more mass appeal. This means they could be a good fit if your book has a very specific type of angle. They can also be a good option if your book has a tie to the local community where the publisher is based. All of the Big Five are based out of New York City, but mid-size and indie presses can be found across the country. And they often have strong local ties to the community where they are based. The smaller team of a mid-size or indie press could offer you a more intimate and personalized experience. And your book is going to be on a smaller list overall. That could mean that your publishing team is more open to input from you as the author throughout the publishing journey. Now let's talk about some cons of publishing with a midsize or indie press over a big five house. Because these are still traditional publishers, it is likely still going to be very competitive for you to break in. The biggest con is that these publishers have less funds to offer you via the advance, but some do offer higher royalty rates to make up for some of that difference. The big five have the most resources and tend to offer the highest advances. In general, a midsize or indie press is not going to have as many resources as a major publishing house, and they may not provide the same marketing muscle, for instance, and your book may not be in as many bookstores. And finally, with a midsize or indie press, it can be difficult to identify a legitimate publisher from a scam, because there are many scam publishers out there presenting themselves as a traditional publisher, but really they are asking authors to pay for services, or they really aren't offering you anything beyond what you can give yourself via self-publishing. I have another video that goes into common author scams, so definitely check that out before you consider going with a smaller publishing house that you've never heard of. And as always, do your research on the house and make sure that their list and what they can offer is in alignment with your own publishing goals. I hope this helped illuminate another side of the traditional publishing industry for you and all the robust opportunities that you have as an author. Let me know in the comments if you're leaning toward traditional publishing or self-publishing. I'd love to hear where you're at, as well as if you have considered any of the publishers I talked about or any other midsize or indie presses. If you're on the fence about deciding whether to go with traditional publishing, I have another video going through pros and cons of traditional publishing, so check that one out. Before you head out, don't forget to grab your free story self-assessment worksheet and check out my newsletter website. Those links are in the description. And give me a thumbs up if you liked this video, and go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on my next one. Thanks so much for watching, and happy writing.